This is Landon. He's 2, and he's healthy and whole and full of life.
Things sure have changed since he was born.
The doctor looked at us and he said, listen, I just want to be honest, as a parent, he's going to have a lot of problems because of this. He said he probably will never walk. He'll probably never talk. And it's our recommendation that if he goes into any form of cardiac arrest, it's our recommendation to not even revive him because he's going to have such a hard life.
We were both devastated. It was the hardest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Jason and Amy Smith married 14 years ago. After 7 years together, they decided to adopt. It was a 5-year process before Landon came into their lives.
I remember telling Amy one day, I said, you know, I really believe that what's going to happen is one day the phone's going to ring and our life is going to change.
We have a good friend, and she called him and she said, I might have a child for you guys. And she said, are you interested? And we said, absolutely.
We were planning things and just kind of getting everything in order. And then we got a call 11 days later that she was on the way to the hospital.
And she was having complications. The doctor told us 1 more minute and he would have lost both of them. So it was a very emergency situation.
I was sitting here at Kenneth Copeland Ministries working in the purchasing department. And my mom called and she was obviously pretty upset. I remember looking at one of my friends in the department and he just looked at me and said, go, we'll be praying, just go. And so I got up from my desk, got to the car, and I just can't tell you how much of security I felt and strength that I felt knowing that as I was going to take care of this or to whatever was waiting for me at the hospital, that I had an entire group of people that were stopping what they were doing right then, going to our boss's office and beginning to pray for my family, for my unborn son. There was strength in that, and it just provided a whole level of peace throughout that day, and we needed it.
When Jason and Amy arrived at the hospital, they learned Landon was diagnosed with hydrocephalus and brain damage. The doctors kept a watchful eye on this 7 weeks premature baby and did all they could to keep him alive.
I remember the first time that they actually let us in to see him right after he was born. They really prepared us, you know, for the worst. They were like, listen, he's small, he's only 3 pounds.
They said he doesn't look like a normal baby.
2 weeks after he was born, we transferred to Cook's Hospital in Fort Worth and started a series of surgeries to relieve the pressure on his head because of the hydrocephalus.
He had to have it's called a VAD put in his head, where they could go in with a needle and relieve the pressure of the spinal fluid that was collecting in his brain. He had a permanent shunt placed in his head. He was in the NICU for 9.5 weeks. After we got home, he started having complications, and he had a severe staph infection from the surgery in his stomach.
So all in, we were in there for 12 weeks total. I don't know how people that don't know the Lord, I don't know how they handle the challenges of life, because
without hope,
without that, without the support, the prayer support, and just that knowledge of people lifting us up, lifting Landon up, going before the Father on our behalf, that made the process easier for us.
Here was this little baby that the doctors gave no hope to, but Jesus gave hope, and Jesus had a plan for his life. Every day when I look at him, I know that God is a miracle worker, that he loves us.
I still find myself just watching him, sitting there and just watching him, thinking, I can't believe everything that he's been through. And you wouldn't know it. You would never know it.
You would never know what the doctor said about him, looking at him.
He's a testimony to the healing power of God. Just watching him walk, and then watching him run, and then listening to him talk, and watching him play and crawl up in our laps and do all the things that any normal boy is supposed to do. He does. When I look in his eyes, I see the blessing of God. I see everything that God is, life and health and happiness and joy and peace. I see that in Landon every time I see him. And it's just awesome. It's a privilege to be his parents.
It is. It's a privilege. We're honored to be his parents.
We thank God every day for Kenneth Copeland Ministries because we felt the support, we felt the prayers, we felt the love. We're so thankful to be a part of what they're doing.